Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of A Taboo Life, where everyone has a story to tell. I'm your host, Drew Franks, or Frank for short, and I want to thank you guys again for listening. A Taboo Life is the idea that everyone has a story to tell. From your quiet neighbor across the street who you barely say hi to that older woman at the checkout line who has a Grateful Dead tattoo, to that cute coworker that you've been meaning to ask out, but you still don't have the balls to do it. And to that creepy guy at the gym who is checking you out right now. They all have stories to tell. And maybe we just sit down and listen to them. Maybe not the creepy guy at the gym. It's, obviously wear something more flattering. Get that side haircut thing where, you have most of your hair except for one side of your head that's completely shaved off. Yeah. Probably should do that. Probably turn off more men. Anyway, that's my little joke. Today's episode I'm very excited about. Her name is Miss Elisa T. Bailey. She is a certified sex therapist here in Florida, so she is licensed. And she is getting her doctorate right now in sex therapy. So, very interesting person to talk to. We had a great episode. We talked about why sex is more taboo, and also why you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help if you need it, especially if you're having sexual issues. A lot of us do have issues. I mentioned it in the episode that I had issues in the past, and I talk about it openly. So if you need help of any way, don't be afraid. There's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. There's nothing wrong with it. And it's actually, you're more of a stronger person if you admit that there's a problem and you actually are looking for a solution, like a healthy solution. There's a lot of strength and courage in that. But besides that, this episode is a really fun episode. It was very enlightening. It was very insightful, very educational. And it was very fun too. So there's a lot of fun tidbits, and we get into a lot of talk about sex and therapy. So, here's the episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright guys, well, welcome to another episode, and why don't you introduce yourself and your full title and what do you do?
Okay, my name is Aisha Bailey. I'm soon to be Dr. Aisha Bailey. I am a board certified sex therapist. I'm in private practice specializing in everything from sex therapy to mental health, alternative sexuality, which we label as kink, BDSM. Also work well with polyamorous community, civilian, military. I have a long list of kind of credentials.
What's
polyamorous?
Yeah, what's that?
Polyamorous mean more than one love. So individuals, it's not polygamy like we see on TV, but polyamory just means individuals who are in different relationship dynamics. So you can have basically a dominant and a submissive. That's like the kink BDSM side. But basically, if I'm a female, I may have a husband, I may have a boyfriend, and we do some type of time sharing, or it's a different relationship dynamic than being monogamous. Yeah.
All right.
What people know is polygamy.
Yeah,
and that's more than one wife, or polyandry, which was more than one husband. But polyamory is more than one love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, never heard that word before.
Yeah. First time for everything.
All right, so this is going to be a really interesting and in-depth podcast. So I'm really excited about this. So let's get started. How did you get started in this work?
For me, it was quite ironic. I've always been open about sexuality and like love and relationships and things like that growing up in the household that I grew up in. And I kind of shift around trying to do everything that everybody else wanted me to do. I was pre-med at one point, was interested in chiropractic school, but it just didn't fit me.
Chiropractic school.
Yeah.
the pseudoscience.
Exactly. It just didn't fit. And living in Florida, I got at the Marine Corps. I was here in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're a Marine.
I'm a Marine vet. Yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine.
What, enlisted or commissioned?
I was enlisted,
or
yes.
What rank did you get off?
E5.
Ooh, so a lot of you Marines are going to love this episode. I'm going to put that in the description, too.
Yeah, Semper Fi, Devil Dogs, yeah.
So go ahead.
I got out of the Marine Corps, kind of went to school, kind of feeling my way.
Just whenever I tell you to do this means come a little bit closer to the mic. All right, go.
Okay, trying to figure out my way, things. And it was always something that I was really passionate about. What I didn't know is that Florida actually regulates sex therapy. So I actually had to go back to school to do sex therapy training. So in other states, it's not regulated or mandated. You can call yourself a sex therapist without any like real training.
Yeah.
But here in Florida, you actually have to go.
Oh, so that's a good thing. No.
Yeah, it is.
It means you have to be legitimate. Like
you do.
Okay,
you
that's
do.
good. Yeah.
You do. So for me, I was in school to get my master's degree in clinical mental health. I'm also a mental health counselor as well. I did that, and then while I was doing that, I started my sex therapy training certification in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
And once I did that, I became board certified, and the rest is history.
Now you have your own little practice going on.
Yes. I have a location here and in Fort Lauderdale. As well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I do. Have two.
How often do you do the commute?
Every week.
Ooh.
It's freaking crazy. Every week. But it's necessary and it's good for me. Wow. Yeah. I do a lot, Andrew.
Oh my God, that's a log.
Yeah.
Do you do it every weekend or week, or do you take a week off? Like,
I try to take a week off for self-care.
Yeah.
But otherwise than that,
you need that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, what made you interested in doing sex therapy?
It's a topic that's still taboo.
Yeah, it really is.
You know what I mean? Like, even in our wholly sexualized world, it's still taboo. Most people can't even have the conversations about sex. I've always been open about it.
Yeah.
But I was always kind of like pushed to the side because of it. Like, especially in my community, like as a black woman, you must be a freak. You must be nasty. I am. You know what I mean?
I thought you were going to say, no, I'm not. And
No.
you're like, no, I am.
Come on. You're coming to a sex therapist who don't like to have sex. That doesn't make any sense. It's like going to a mechanic and he doesn't like working on cars. Does that make any sense?
No.
Or going to a dentist.
Or a good mechanic and he doesn't like that.
And he doesn't like
such
it.
thing as a good mechanic and he doesn't like cars.
Yeah. Or a dentist and his teeth is jacked up. Like, would you go back to that dentist? No. So for me, it was working with individuals in areas where we don't talk about, even for mental health. In my school, we got one human sexuality class. That was it. Just one.
Right,
for my master's in mental health.
But that's not for the sex therapy.
No, it's not for sex therapy.
Right.
You get one class when you become a mental health counselor or social worker. You get one class in human sexuality. But your clients are coming in with issues related to relationship dynamics or even sexual related issues. How do you help them? So for me, it was very important for me to start working with people on that issue. And it was something that I feel like I could do well. And here I am.
So here you are in Jacksonville doing sex therapy.
Yeah.
So, man, we got a lot to talk about there because this is really interesting. I think was a couple first questions. So what's your typical clients? Like what you say, like the average client or what you have to counsel them on?
That I would say I work a lot with couples. I think the major thing that I hear and I see is like communication issues and intimacy. And sometimes people equate sex with intimacy and it's two totally different things.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of that. I see a lot of shame and guilt surrounding sex. I basically really trying to undo a lot of the things and messages that they've gotten about sex. Like, sex is nasty, it's dirty, you shouldn't have any desire, especially for women. You know, it's all about pleasing other people. I also work a lot with the LGBT community, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community, and how the messages they got about sex, and whether it's a religious aspect, it's wrong for you to be who you are. And, you know, we don't have to go into like the gender and sexual orientation, but there is a difference between the two. And there's just the messages, like I said, you know, being a black woman, you're not able to desire. If you do that, if you have sex with a lot of men, then you're considered a hoe, or if you don't have sex with a lot of men, then you're stuck up. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, well, I feel like, I think it's a little bit opposite from a man's perspective, because I feel like, especially from the way I was raised, do my uncles, not so much my father, but do my uncles, I was expected to have a lot of sex. And I didn't lose my virginity until I was 23.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to wait to fall in love, and that didn't happen. So I took the best story.
Yeah.
I took let me take the best situation out of this, which I lost at Disney World, so that was nice.
I mean, that's the happiest place on earth, isn't it?
I lost it. But like, from a man, like, there is like stress on a male too. Like, like you have to be the sexual dominant one, and and I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of times I really just want to be intimate.
Yeah,
it's nice, especially for the past 2 years where I started like getting more promiscuous. Yeah, let's use that. We're getting more promiscuous. I realized like I'd rather just be in like a healthy relationship. Yeah, it's just a little bit more fulfilling.
Yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out, because a lot of men come with that. They come with this shame and guilt too. That is, whether it's societal expectations or familial expectations or peer expectations, even in their 30s and 40s, that, hey, I have to have a lot of women, I'm supposed to have a lot of sex, or I have to be the dominant one, or don't cuddle, or don't show my emotions, or all these things, or I have to have my penis erect at all times. And it's like, no, you know, you're still human. You don't have to do that, but it's hard, you know?
And it is hard. Well, it's like what you said before, about like how sex is still a taboo subject, and I know it's because I like to travel. America still got that. I'm not sure if I'm using it, not the Protestant view, but like it starts with a P, it's like a religious view. Like it came from like the Puritan
view,
puritanical view on sex. Then when I go to Europe, England, especially Spain, and Italy, like it's not put in your face, but it's like it's accepted. And one thing I didn't know in Spain, while I was in Sevilla, were the older couples. Like the older couples were, even if they weren't like on a scale of 1 to 10 attractive, even if they weren't above a 5, they kept themselves, like, they had pride in their appearance. All the women and men had pride in their appearance. And I know it's like the older couples, I thought it was so sweet. I saw this like a few times. Like they were still walking around with their hand in their back pockets, like switching hands. And I saw a couple of them grab, like especially the women were grabbing the guy's ass. I'm like, man, that's like a relationship I want to have when I get old. Like, that's still going on.
Right. I need to move to Spain then, I guess, huh?
Yeah, Spain. Like I was surprised. Like I thought that was really eye opening. But France and England and Germany, they have their own views on sex, but it's not taboo out there. Right. And something I remember reading was when the first James Bond movie came out with Sean Connery. I think a couple of psychologists made from the United States and England made a big, not revelation, but know something. That the audiences in England thought the movie was too violent, while the audiences in America thought it was too sexual.
Sean Connery's sexy anyway, so.
He's the. I wish I had that type of body, not like the body, like not the Rock body, but Sean Connery's old body. Like I thought, like, man, that's actually what I think a healthy man looks like.
Oh yeah, he's still sexy to me. Even he can be 80, 90 and still be sexy.
Sean Connery.
Oh yes.
All right, so how do you actually get like started in doing this?
I think for me, it was like really thinking out of the box. A lot of times in school, I didn't have a lot of direction. It's like when you tell your professor, hey, I want to be a sex therapist, they're looking at you like, what? Like, what do you mean? So, but for me, I was fortunate enough to have a clinical supervisor in school and my clinical supervisors at JU, shout out to Jacksonville University Counseling Center, who really allowed me to be me. And whatever me was, and for me, giving me space to kind of explore what I wanted to do. So with that, even while I was doing my clinical internship, I did a lot of research on how to start a business. Because I think a lot of times people think you're just a therapist or sex therapist.
Yeah.
You run a business. Running private practice is a business. So how do you market yourself? Doing a lot of marketing, going to a lot of networking events, getting your name out of there. For me, I'm fortunate enough, as soon as you say sex therapist, people want to know more. You know what I mean? As soon as you say the word sex, it's like, ooh, what? Well, tell me more, you know? So marketing for me wasn't as difficult, I think, because I'm in such a specialized niche.
Yeah, I think when I Googled you, you were the only one in Jacksonville, are you? Or I didn't see a lot.
There are some sexologists here.
What's the difference?
Sexologists, their PhD, this is what I'm getting now.
So, okay.
Their PhD, but it's sexologists, it's the definition is like, it's not just clinical, it's philosophical, it's holistic, it's everything, but we pretty much do the same thing. But Florida, like I said, Florida is really strict on using the term sex therapist. And that's because back in the 60s and 70s, you had some therapists down in Miami who were being unethical and having sex with their clients and having a sexual relationship, which is a no-no.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Tallahassee, the state said, listen, we're getting all these lawsuits, you know, all these individuals are affected by it. We need to come up with some statutes to kind of protect the public.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you get some. If they didn't have those statutes in the licensing process, they'll probably get some creepers, some rapists.
Definitely.
So that's actually a good thing that the government stepped in and did that.
Oh, yeah. So in order for you to use the title as sex therapist, you actually have to go through license to get a sex therapy. You can do clinical sexology, which I'm doing now for my PhD. But as a sex therapist, like sexologists can't call themselves sex therapists.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, I know. So let's keep this broad in general. 'Cause I don't want to out any of your clients.
Sure.
But can you tell us like a couple of good stories you can tell about your clients that's not without any names or any
confidentiality?
Yeah, don't violate any confidentiality.
I think I would say like an overview. I think
there we go.
There is this myth that like going to even the men don't seek counseling, and I think it was a thing of before, and it's we're starting to see like an increase in men, and a lot like going back to what you were talking about, the expectations of being this dominant individual who don't like intimacy, and it's all about sex and all about, you know, being promiscuous with different individuals. A good story would be an individual in his 40s who was a virgin. And
no way.
No one knew. No one. Not friends.
Was he a good-looking guy?
Yes.
So did he have his shit together too?
Yeah, shit together. Like good job,
man.
Good-looking, athletic. Like I would say like an all-American. Play basketball. I mean, you name it. And this is an individual I had maybe like early on in my career. Just a good all-around person. And it was amazing to see the expectations that we place on individuals who may present as that, you know, confident, good job, very good looking, dress nice, good credit, good home, loving, and just wanted to wait until he was married and really felt a lot of shame that he couldn't even talk about it to his closest friends.
So that's why he came to you?
Yes.
To talk about that?
It was just this expectation of trying to keep up with the lie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm living this lie. Or are you dating this person? Or how is sex? You know how I do. I mean, I'm not a dude, but how do you guys talk?
Let's talk about that pussy.
Yeah.
That pussy.
Like, you hit that? Like, if I'm from New York, so it's like, you smash? Like, you beat? Like,
my favorite one, because I love my Uncle Ben. I would say this, man. I banged this chick.
Yeah. I banged her.
Well, it turned out bang means something else, too.
Yeah.
Well, bang is... I find out banging someone... I thought banging is another term just for sex in general.
Yeah.
But my cousin told me, like, bang also means, like, when you pop a girl's cherry, when she actually bleeds.
Bleeds, yeah. Yeah.
But, like, I always loved it when he would tell us some weird story. He, like, whenever he'd get mad at us, he would curse us out or, like, just go out on us. He would take, like, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Breathe. Then he tells, like, a sex story.
Like what the fuck?
Well, like, he'll do, like, it's funny. Like, his stories are funny, but I think he does it, like, to make himself feel bad.
Yeah. Like, so I was banging this chick, right?
Yeah, he rarely tells, like, so like, we're teenagers, like, yes, I banged this chick.
And you know what? For me, it's like, even with that, like, that term banging, I don't want nobody banging nothing. Like, I only get, like, one pussy. I don't want you to be banging it. I can't go, like, to Home Depot or Lowe's and get another one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think, even with that, like, stories like that, like the idea that men have to be a certain way, but unfortunately they expect, even like for women, if you're heterosexual, there's this expectation that, oh, she's going to view me as that. And whenever I can't perform, and I call it a performance, then who am I? You know, well, nobody wants to be rejected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or this stigma of, oh, he must be gay.
Yeah. Especially you don't want to get rejected when you're naked.
Yes.
That's like probably the worst type of rejection.
Yeah. And even in same-sex situations and dynamics, I see that as well. Like, it's still this shame and guilt of the expectations of how I should be. You know, I have a close friend of mine who identifies as gay, and he's very open about it. And everybody always said, he doesn't look gay. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, like, I get
looking gay.
I get what they said, like, because the whole the demasculine, what's the word? Kind of like the fairy gay guys.
Yeah, but it's
effeminate.
Yeah, but it's like it's an orientation. It's not this cut and dry thing that we kind of put out there, you know.
Well, with you being a Marine, I'm pretty sure you know there's probably other Marines that were just, you wouldn't think they were gay, but they were gay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was in the don't ask, don't tell.
Oh, okay.
Kind of era.
So they kept it a secret, but
yeah, don't ask, don't tell. But I mean, even my family. I have a cousin of mine who is trans identified. One of my favorite people in the world. Back in the 80s, when it wasn't even like great for you to be open and out, especially not being black. Identifies as being gay. Awesome person. And for me, it was really important because I don't see that. You're human to me. And in our society, they are oppressed. They are the ones that deal with the most depression and anxiety. Even if, like, we're talking about, like, performance, if I can't perform, if my dick don't get hard when it's supposed to, then, like, I know I have he ain't shit. He couldn't get hard. Well, you know, you can still have a good time with a soft penis.
Well, I'm getting a little personal on my part. For a couple of years, after I lost my virginity, when I first lost my virginity, and a couple of women I had after that, I never had a problem getting erect or the performance. I had a problem climaxing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was something weird with me. I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, how come? And the women enjoyed it. It was a couple like, man, that was a long ass time.
Yeah.
I'm like, but in my head, like, how come I'm not gay?
I want to come too. Like, what the hell? And you know what's so crazy? Even for me, even like the word climax, a lot of times people don't even know what that is.
Really?
Because we don't talk like that. I want to climb. Now I want to come. You know, I want a nut.
I want a nut.
I want to bust this nut. You know, or like women, how do you orgasm? It's like, no, that is like the highest of the highest. Orgasm is like it's not only just a physical response, it's like an emotional one, a mental one as well. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do that. Mm-hmm. So even in cases like that, I tell people, enjoy the moment. Yeah. Don't worry about busting a nut or climaxing. You know, even if you're with someone, after that you finish, maybe you can finish yourself off. Like, what are you more focused on? Are you focused on climaxing, or are you focused on the feeling in the moment? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, besides your typical clients, do you have any like outliers that you feel like there was like very unique situations?
I would say like the hardest for me throughout my career is dealing with kids.
Really?
Yeah, dealing with kids who may come with what people call like highly sexualized or having thoughts about sex or on chat rooms and things like that.
Well, how old would you say these kids are? Like with the range?
Like 5 or 6. Or
masturbating
at 3, yeah.
Wow.
The average kid starts watching porn at 8 or 9.
I didn't start watching porn until like... Well, I remember as a kid, my first time I saw a porn was by accident. Was at my dead... Oh, he's dead now. My grandfather. I guess he had a porn video. I remember back in New York, I went to their house and like I was looking for the Terminator movie.
Yeah.
And I couldn't read, so I remember pointing this video and I started watching it. They were having sex the whole time. I thought it was like a commercial. Like, okay, where's the Terminator movie?
Yeah.
And my grandma came in. It's like, what the hell are you guys watching? It was my grandpa's in it. Well, I didn't understand what I was watching because, I thought, okay, well, where's the Terminator coming? Where's Arnold coming in?
Oh yeah, he's about to come in a minute. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I think like even now, I mean, look at social media. Pornhub. I don't know if you need to edit that out because I dropped a name, but different mediums. It's easy and accessible and it's free.
Yeah.
In and everything you can possibly think of, it's free. Even, I have 2 girls, they were watching something on YouTube and my daughter typed in Barbie. Well, she actually spoke it. Barbie,
okay.
She couldn't and then on the side of it, it was like Barbie, but then it was like Barbie does something. And I was like, what the hell? Like, how did you get from, and she was maybe about 4.
That's weird like that. So the suggestion box.
Yeah, I think it's like keywords and maybe I'm not like a tech savvy type person, so like the keywords that pop up, but it's easily accessible for certain people. I mean, how can you care about anything when you have access to everything? So I have access to everything. I'm exposed to a lot and I see it. So even for me going back, like 5-year-olds who may be masturbating. I mean, if you think about it, it feels good. And a lot of times, oh, that's nasty, or were they abused? Did somebody show them how to do that? And a lot of times, I mean, in some instances, yes. And in other instances, no. I mean, if I go and I'm exploring, I'm in a bathtub and I touch this and my body goes, ooh, I'm probably going to want to touch it again.
Yeah.
So I think working with kids is hard. I also, not converted clients, but just giving, parents advice about kids who are actually into kink and BDSM at a very early age. And I'm talking about kink. BDSM is basically bondage, discipline.
Well, I'll tell you a story about that, but go ahead. And continue.
So and looking at like why are they into it? Why would somebody be into that? Were they exposed to anything? And like I said, it can be all of those things, but sometimes they don't have to have exposure to just like to be tied up or like that feeling. It feels good to them.
So do you think it's something they saw, or is this something like is this genetic?
Not in
nature
every,
nurture
not
thing?
not in every case. Not in every case. I know I have some people I talked to who knew at the age, because kink can be an orientation too.
Redefine kink for me.
Kink,
and excuse me while go ahead and talk because I'm just going to switch the power cord.
Yeah, I don't know. An easy way to describe kink. If you think about something that's kinky, something that's something that is, well, that would be fetish if it's the object of my arousal, but something that is just, I would say, just the not the taboo. Like I'm having a brain fart right now when it comes to kinky, but kinky would be, let's say, if I like to be tied up.
Yeah.
Let's say if I like to be, you're so kinky, or things that
something
vanilla
low.
Sex. Yeah.
Something that's not like a fetish, but it's like it's a little bit. It's like a below fetish. Basically.
Yeah. It's not vanilla sex. Like it's like vanilla sex. Like I told, like the term freak. Or you're freaky, or you like to do it in the mirror, or you like to, do it out in public.
So
and stuff like that.
This is just like not criteria, but just kind of like a flavor you're talking about.
It's different. Not being what we call vanilla in the community. Be vanilla. Vanilla is like straight up. Oh, ew, that's nasty. I don't do that. Kind of like, Yeah. So what story you were gonna say about?
I wrote an article on my blog about it. I went to Burning Man last year. It was fun. I loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Yes.
I was walking around, and it was this. They had like different camps there. They had this different sections of Burning Man.
Yeah.
It's a large area. I think it's a 7 square mile area in the desert.
Is. Yeah.
I walked by this tent. It was like a nice little. Looked like a really kind of like a Circus Olay-esque tent, and it was bondage tent, rope bondage tent, and so there were just really friendly people outside. Like, hey, you want to come inside? Check out. We have like a little class going on. We just need you to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
So I signed a waiver. And I didn't. When I thought bondage, I thought it was like rough stuff and everything. But then like the guy came up to my group and he started talking to us. He was like a really friendly guy. He said like, well, it's about power.
Yes, it is.
And it's also about safe power too, because both people agree to it. And he said something I thought was interesting. He said it's not the sadist that's having power; it's the
It's the masochist.
Yeah, there we go. I have double check make sure I got the terms mixed up. Because the masochist is the one that controls the sadist. You think the sadist is being the one that, or the guy that's actually being
the dominant one.
Yeah, the dominant one. You think the dominant one is actually the one in control, but it's actually the one being submissive because the dominant one can't get off unless the submissive one is like getting off.
Yeah.
So something like that.
Yeah.
So like I was just listening to him, like, man, these guys are really nice, and it's like. Some of the people look average, and some of the people look like, okay, you could tell they're into that. But so the more he talked about, like, I told him like, okay, there's one thing I want to try. And it wasn't sexual. So the inside of the tent is like a pretty big tent. They had the scaffolding around it. Basically, I asked the guy, I'm like, okay, I want my arms. Basically, I want to be pulled apart. Kind of like the whole King Kong thing or the Samson or Hercules thing.
Right.
So him and another guy, they tied my wrist up, and he was like really professional about it. He said like, okay, I have to wrap it a certain way, so make sure there's a coffee circulation. Do you have any health issues or heart issues? I need to know about it. Completely professional about it, and they did it. They pulled me apart. And the thing was, it wasn't a sexual experience for me. It was more like, I can't be taken down kind of thing. And I felt good like these two guys were kind of pulling me apart.
Yeah. I'm
like, okay, I have these two guys, and then putting all their weight on him because I told him, like, okay, you could go harder. You could go harder.
Right.
And the guy was like, what the
what the hell? What's your tolerance level? Yeah.
Well, like, I was actually holding them back, too. Yeah. So, like, I felt powerful.
Yeah. Did you have a safe word?
No, there was no safe words. He said, just tell us when you want to stop.
Okay.
It was like, it wasn't like that. It's like,
yeah,
just tell us stop and we'll stop.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. So, like, it was really, like, they're really nice people.
Yeah. I mean, they're people. You know, it's what it is. It's just erotic power exchange. And I like the fact that you were educated on that because it's like if in a dominant submissive role, what we call DS role, I mean, a lot of people think the dom has all the power, but think about what it takes for you to give your power away to someone. How vulnerable you have to be to feel safe enough to do that with someone and say, hey, here's this, and we're doing this erotic power in exchange. And the key words are safe, sane, and consensual. So, you know, of course, people think it's 50 Shades of Grey, but that's not accurate.
I heard that actually kind of hurt the community.
Yeah, it's not an accurate depiction of what it is. You know, people think it's just these people going around hurting people, raping and pillaging, and that's not what it is. The community, it's regular people, it's consensual, erotic power exchange. And if it can't be consensual, people usually act in good faith. You know, I think that's the reason for Burning Man, which is an awesome meetup. I have a lot of colleagues who actually work Burning Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so for me, I think a lot of people are afraid of what they don't know. You know what I mean? Like, people are afraid of, like I said, like the freaky thing. Oh, you're a freak. Every time I hear freak, I think of like a circus clown. Yeah. And shit. Like, I'm not a circus clown. I like what I like, you know? Whether that's hair pulling or, you know. I mean, even now, like, people, daddy. Well, that's an erotic, that's a power exchange. If you ever been slapped on your ass and you liked it, if you ever been choked, if you ever been pushed up against the wall aggressively, you're engaging in some type of erotic power exchange, but we don't view it as that. Yeah. It's getting hot up in here. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the temperature.
Yeah.
Do you help kids too? Because I was going to talk about this because when I was a cop, I had a situation. It was kind of like a sick situation that these two twin boys were molested by their older twin brother.
Yeah.
Older brother. Mm. And it was a really messed up situation. The special victims unit dropped the ball.
Wow.
We had to do the procedure for a police officer interviewing a kid that's involved in any sexual situation that you need to have a special victims unit or a special victims detective.
Absolutely.
Who has child training. Because it's a different way you got to interview the children.
Right.
And it was so messed up that the sergeant didn't send anyone. So me, my sergeant, and my training officer, we had to do these questions. We had to make sure we're careful about the questions.
Yes.
And the teachers were there like, this is not the right situation. This is not the right way of doing it. But anyway, he told us that like the kid told us like the brother was actually sodomizing them, the twin brothers, and making him suck his dick afterwards.
Yeah.
And the mother showed up, and we were alone with mother, and we told her, and she did that fake shock thing, like
mom knew.
She knew.
Yeah.
So in those situations, do you actually handle that? Help with that? Do you actually help kids like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think people think sex therapists, they think all I do is talk about sex. Unfortunately, there's a part of it that is not so pleasant.
Yeah.
And like cases that you described like that, I do. For me, I'm gonna just be honest. I kind of limit how many cases like that I take.
Yeah.
Because that's
very rough.
That's rough. It's rough, but I feel if anybody in the audience ever think about going into sex therapy, it's always good. I mean, even as a therapist in general, for you to have your own therapist or do consultations with other therapists so that way you can get out all your feelings. Mm-hmm. So for me, I do. It's primarily working with the kids about the shame and guilt and how they felt, especially when you have like an older sibling and a younger sibling looking at the parents, what consequences does the parents have, the betrayal for the parents, did the parents know? We don't know if the kids think that this is normal behavior. We don't know if this is something ongoing and they don't know anything else. And really just helping them to know that it's inappropriate behavior or inappropriate touch and what that means for them. But cases like that is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very hard.
But do you help out with that?
I do.
Whenever you have a chance.
I will work with pretty much anyone. Mm-hmm. And back in the day, about 5 years ago, I don't think I would be able to say that. Mm-hmm. I would work with anyone, but I feel if I don't, then who will?
Yeah, especially like in that situation, because you have that education experience and training. Sadly, like there's a lot of kids and adults that went through that and they didn't have someone to talk to,
exactly,
like a professional to talk to. And,
exactly.
It hurts them in the later life.
Yeah, because they're not dealing with it. I have a statement that you never really get over something. You learn how to cope with it better. Mm-hmm. So even if I can be just a sounding board for them to express how it felt for them and really educate, like, okay, sex is supposed to feel good and it's supposed to be consensual. I don't care if it's the person with the same age or, incestuous behavior is a no-no.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And what is it like for them to kind of go through that and kind of working with them on what are their views about sex anyway, or even just being able to trust someone. A lot of times it's not about the sex. It's about the power that person can have over the other person, especially when you're thinking about things like rape or the dynamic of a older person and a younger person, like in dealing with like pedophiles and hebophiles, which is different. A pedophile is someone, I think the age stops at 10 and below, and a hebophile is someone from that whose attraction is with someone from about, I think, 11 to 17 years old. So a lot of people put it all in one, like, oh, he's a pedophile. And a pedophile and a child molester is two different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I've never heard that term hebophile before.
Yeah.
So, how would they be separate from a child molester?
It's a child molester actually acts out.
Okay.
I'm actually doing the behavior. There's pedophiles who never perpetrate.
Yeah.
On anyone. You're not a child molester.
And they're aware of
And they're aware of this is wrong and it's not consensual. There are hebephiles who don't perpetrate, who are not child molesters. They have this arousal or this attraction to individuals within that age group, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to act on it. But I think, we in our society, we have this view because we're very uneducated about the differences. I didn't even know what a hebephile was before I went to sex therapy school. Me either. A lot of Greek terms. So I didn't even know. I thought, child molester, pedophile, same thing to me, and it's not. It's not the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from your training and from your experience, is that something like neurological or something genetic or something that like may happen when they were a kid?
I've heard from one expert that they have a way of detecting it early in like as early as 3 or 4.
How?
But I don't know how accurate that is. I've worked with maybe a couple of pedophiles, identified pedophiles who were seeking help.
Yeah.
But that's not an area of my expertise simply because I know I can be biased with that, and I don't like put myself out there to work with anybody that I know that I'm going to have my own biases.
Of course, yeah.
I'd rather send them to someone who's actually an expert in that, because that's a niche within itself as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's a rough subject for everyone because
yes.
What was that? I think one of the main rules for most people, especially in prison, like kids are hands off.
Kids are no.
Yeah, that's why I think when they find out child rapists coming in jail, they're the ones that get beat up first.
Oh yeah, they call them chomos. Like chomos? I don't know, like it's a lingo in jail. They call them some are called chomos.
Yeah, basically
short for child molester. So they call them chomos. That's prison lingo. I have a diverse background. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
No, it's actually this wasn't sexual, but because you brought that up, another cop story. Me and this other officer, we went to the scene. I'm going to not tell him anyone's name, but if he does listen to it, you know who he is. He's a father to a couple of kids. We went. This mother called us up, and we had to go outside her apartment and talk. She told us, like, I had a suspicion that my boyfriend was hurting my child, and I just didn't have the evidence. So today I left a small camera in the corner of the apartment, and I went out for like 30 minutes to get some groceries, and I came back, and my son had bruises. So I went to go look at the video, and it was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen happen to a kid. I guess the kid, like, he had been 5. I guess he was crying or he wasn't even doing anything.
Yeah.
And once I remember the video, he wasn't even doing anything. He was just chilling.
Yeah.
The freaking boyfriend comes out of the bedroom, slams him like a doll, basically. Throws him on the floor, then straddles him and starts punching him.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was kind of like dumbfounded because I didn't know what to make of him. Like,
right.
Like, I just saw that. Like, so I was kind of a little bit in shock.
Yeah.
But I looked at my partner and I saw his face.
Yeah.
And he ran into the room. I ran behind him. Like, man, I gotta make sure he doesn't kill him.
It's about to go down.
I thought he was going to like do something. Like, oh shit, let me make sure. So I ran right behind him, and good thing he had restraint though. He just grabbed him and put him in handcuffs and drew him in the car, and we had to wait for detectives to come. But that was a pretty open shut case.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once the detective saw that video, it was like, yeah, you're not. They looked at him like, you're not coming out of jail for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we see that all the time in the media more often than not now.
Yeah.
Where, a woman goes to work and the boyfriend's at home watching the kids, and the kid, unfortunately, passes away from, blunt force trauma or something like that. It's really unfortunate. I mean, a lot of times, I don't know if it's just because we have more access to the media, it's widely reported now.
Yeah.
Versus before, but like back in the day.
Yeah. I think, like, I remember one of my psychology professors saying, well, this was about Alzheimer's and Down syndrome. He said like he thinks like it's always been the same rate, statistical rate.
Yes.
It's just being more public now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's being identified better.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I don't think I could be a police officer.
That was rough. Man, I had a good question I was going to ask. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask about that because what's your take on because it's not a sexual question, but what's your take on corporal punishment on kids?
Okay, so I grew up in a household where you got your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Like whether it was a belt, whether it was a shoe, whether it was I'm hitting your ass with a broom, a paddle, fresh out the bath, you go outside, you get a switch, whatever. But here's the thing. I think kids nowadays, they're smarter, but they don't have a lot of critical thinking skills. Uh-huh. Not all, but it's the way that we are raising them to be. We are focused on iPads. They don't go outside to play. We're like on Xbox and all of that. Whereas with me, it was like you went outside and you played. Mm-hmm. I turned out okay, but I don't agree with it. I think there's even as a mom myself, there are other ways you can discipline your kids. I don't have to do that to get my kids to, act right. I can be in a store and just give them a look, and they like, oh shit, like oh shit, mama's about to go off. I don't really need to do that, and I think parents, out of their own frustration, take it out on their kids instead of taking a step back and say, okay, what's going on with me? Yeah. That I have to get that out of control, that I have to resort to that type of punishment. Mm-hmm. And because negative punishment, it's never really, like research wise, it's not as effective as positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. Yeah. It's not as effective as positive reinforcement. So I tell parents all the time, take a step back and look at how do you get that angry? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, how do you get that mad and then take it out on that kid to show them that, oh, you don't do that again? It's not going to work. Maybe. But then you blur the line between how much you can control yourself and abuse. Yeah. 'Cause a lot of it is very abusive. Yeah. I think back in the day, how I grew up, that would be considered abuse.
Yeah. I remember getting a belt. Yes. That. But I remember one time my mom punched me in the nose. Yeah. And it was I remember being right about the situation. Yeah. I remember being like 6 or 7, like, no, I'm right. And now looking back, like, yeah, I was right for telling her she was wrong. She punched me very hard. Oh. But I don't know, because I was talking about this with a couple of people. Because the way when I have kids, like I feel like I will do corporal punishment, but it has to be like something severe. It's like if you, like, okay, if you didn't do. If you disrespect me or something like that, okay, you get punished. You're not taking away you'll be time out for an hour or something like that. Well, I feel like if there's something major, like unethically wise, like you completely lied or something, or you stole from someone, like okay, you getting spanked, or you getting your ass kicked. Not ass kicked literally, but
I think there's a difference between spanking and beating your child. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's a fine line between the two. Like, what about teaching your kids about sex?
It's still a rough subject, people. And I didn't really have the birds at bees talk until college from my friend.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this is before I lost my virginity. One of my good friends, Jackie, she's married to her high school sweetheart. So the only guy she had sex with was the one she's married to. Yeah. So not to put business out there, but she's married to him, but like we used to hang out a lot, and after we came from the movies, and she was so because the losing my virginity thing was planned. It was like
you planned it.
It was not planned, but like they were like the woman didn't know I was a virgin. Oh wow! But my friends knew, and they were so excited. They were like, "Oh my god, this is happening!" So like it was kind of like unraveling. Yeah. And we came back from the movies, and I went to drop her off at her dorm because she was in college, and she was in the car with me for an hour, just giving the birds and the bees talk. Oh my god! And she told me she told me about condoms. Like, okay, remember you pinched the tip on the reservoir, and gotta pinch it. And like she was like really honest, like a real honest conversation.
Yeah.
But I thought the funniest thing was when that weekend was so awkward when I lost my virginity because, like, we didn't click afterwards, so I had to spend the rest of the weekend with her. But after I came back, I went to study for an exam that was coming up.
How could you study after that?
Well, like, I had to think about it. I was like, oh, well. So I came back, and one of my good friends, we had rented an apartment together. He was in his room, then I hear a doorbell. It was Jackie and my other friend. They came over with a cake. With a cake?
Did you have a, like, break your virginity cake?
Yes, they did cake. It was so clever. Like, it was like a proper cake. And it said, congratulations on becoming a man. And what they did was they had a trail of frosting. And the first part of the trail was a red M&M. Then it goes on, and another part of the trail was a caterpillar. And the last part of the trail was a butterfly.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, and my friend was like, what the fuck? I didn't get this when I lost my virginity.
That was a special day.
I got a cake.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations
you
for
got
actually
a cake.
doing it.
You know what's so crazy? I was thinking about when you said that, congratulations on becoming a man.
Yeah.
Even when I talked about that person, 40 years old, like, we have this idea that means that's when you become a man. You know what I mean? Like, but you were a man before that.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't, or even one, but like, congratulations on becoming a woman. Well, I'm already a woman, I guess. But I get it. But again, and I'm big on, like, language, like how you speak and what you speak about yourself and, like, kind of like different things and how to remove those messages, because that's a message too.
Well, the thing about sex, it is part of our identity.
Yes.
I mean, like, evolutionary-wise, part of our basic programming or genetic coding is, like, procreating.
Yes.
But also, too, unlike other animals, we do it for fun.
Yes, we do.
We get enjoyment. I think dolphins do it, too, for enjoyment.
Yeah.
And certain...
What about apes?
Certain primates. I'm not sure which ape. I don't want to get this wrong. Maybe bonobo? There's a... I remember reading about this. I forgot the species is a monkey. Species of monkey, I believe, or species of ape. Because apes, or most monkeys and apes got, like, the tribal societies. They go to war or they fight with each other. This species does not fight.
Yeah.
There's no war. There's no violence.
Yeah.
Besides, I think, hunting violence, but that's it. It's because they find out it's just sexually open.
Yeah.
And if I think one, they saw a video of these two male ape or these two male monkeys about to get in a fight, and a woman goes over and breaks them apart, and she starts having sex with one of them. And I think another woman came over there, starts having sex with the other monkey.
Yeah.
And then this violence stopped.
Like, violence stopped.
It's like, okay, no violence.
Yeah, pussy changes things.
It's like, okay, well, that's
stop,
not pussy used in the right way.
Yeah, we can stop wars.
Okay,
we can start wars. We can, pussy's powerful.
Yeah. Actually, I remember this one study, about, I think it was from Freakonomics. I love Freakonomics. I forgot what species of monkey was this, but they were doing, like, they were teaching them about currency and see if they actually could train a monkey, like, okay, if I give you this wooden chip, you could trade it in for a banana, something like that. So they're trying to teach them currency, so they actually got a couple monkeys to do it.
Right.
And what the first monkey did, once they actually officially started the study, they took the chip, gave it to the woman, the woman monkey, and had sex with her.
Listen.
The male dude, like, and they do what's up, like, okay.
That's smart. Give me my damn chip. You want some of this? Give me that chip.
They knew what a transaction was. Like, all right.
Hey, listen. I love it.
I think because the monkeys knew, like, okay, you have to feed me as a science.
You have to feed me, but I need some pussy right now. That's what's important.
Yeah, but I was going to get to well, we were talking about, like, that guy not having sex with his 40. I feel awkward because I dated, like, went on dates, but I only had 2, like, girlfriends, and they only lasted to, like, a month or 5 months. I always felt awkward about that.
How? What made you awkward about?
Because I feel like a lot of my friends had a lot of serious relationships.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't really have a lot of serious relationships. It's not like I'm not. No, I'm not afraid to ask a woman out.
Yeah.
It's like it's definitely not that.
Yeah.
So I always thought like, is there something wrong with me or?
I mean, it could be connection, but again, the expectation that you're supposed to have like these serial relationships and every person you meet, we have to have longevity. No, like I tell people, when you date, don't start off dating exclusively, mm-hmm. Have a couple of people that you're dating, but also be open to individuals. I think there's a lot of assumptions when it comes to different relationships that if we're dating, we automatically assume that we're together. And then once I assume that we're together, then it's expectations with that. No, I mean, be upfront with the person. Say, hey, I would love to date you, but I don't want to date you exclusively. Mm-hmm. And I think people think commitment and exclusivity are the same, and they're not. So, I mean, for you, it's nothing wrong with you. Maybe you just didn't feel connected with other people.
No, it's like more... I want to have a committed relationship.
Yeah.
And I thought for a long time, like, I thought I was choosing the wrong women.
Huh.
And I thought so too. Like, so I started like, okay, either way, I have to take responsibility for it.
Sure.
So if it's me or if it's not me, I still have to take responsibility of that situation. I don't know. I really don't know anymore because this past couple of months, like if I just say it was like a random study, mm-hmm. These women like were just really flaky.
Mm.
Like the last two examples would be this woman we went on a date and actually it went very well. This is when the Jaguars were still playing.
Mm-hmm.
So she invited me that Sunday to go to meet with her and her friends to go to a bar and watch the game.
Yeah.
So I was excited, and then Sunday came along. I'm like, hey, where you want me to meet you at?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm at a friend's house, and blew me off, ghosted. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Then the last situation, I tried Tinder again. Big mistake. This woman was what do you call it? We were messaging each other, and I thought we were going pretty well. We're actually long sentences and stuff.
Right.
And we were supposed to meet the next day, have dinner. And then she did something so shallow. She asked me how tall I am. And I'm like 5'11", so I saw a light a little bit. Like, okay, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm 5'1". I need someone more my height. I thought she was kidding because we were sending jokes to each other. We were like making fun of each other. And I'm like, oh, well, I could, walk on my knees if that helps.
I like that.
And she just blocked me.
Oh, she blocked you after that?
Yeah, she deleted me. I'm like, not only is that shallow, that is freaking like, that's stupid shallow. That like doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it made sense to her for some reason. I don't know. But that's just the thing. We don't know what moves people. You don't know if I don't know. I had a boyfriend that was 6 feet and he did me dirty, and now I have this message in my mind that I don't date anybody that's 6 feet anymore.
No, okay.
You know what I mean? I've had guys tell me, you don't act like a typical female. I was like, what is a typical female act like? I don't know. It doesn't even, my brain doesn't even go there. I get it. Like, I can understand it because I think I'm a little bit intelligent, but just get to know me, instead of you assuming that I'm going to do this or that. And I think a lot of times when people don't know how to deal with you, they will push you away because you're not fitting that status quo, or you're not fitting that ideal person.
Well, I think that's also kind of like, I want to say American culture.
Yes.
There's no such thing as perfect. Mm-hmm. And I think like you need to have like a little bit. I think everyone should have a little broad standards. Like there's definitely mandatory standards. Like okay, you need to have your shit together. Mm-hmm. You need to be a person of good character, an honest person. Mm-hmm. So I think those are like really strict standards you used to have. But then the standards about that are more shallow.
Yeah.
It's like he needs to be a skinny white guy.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if you meet a guy that's my size,
right, and
my color?
Yeah.
And we start talking, and you actually start jiving with it.
Yeah.
And but then you have that saying like, no, he has to be my perfect guy is white,
right?
Skinny white guy.
I think a lot of times people know what they don't want, but they don't know what they want.
Yeah, that's one thing I started to learn. Like, people don't know what they want until you show it to them.
Until you show it to them. Like, I would have never, even when I was traveling in the military, I wouldn't think because growing up, it was, my mom was, big on, you don't mixing like blacks with blacks and whites on whites. And when I went to Marine Corps, I was like, fuck that. Like, white, Chinese, like, Indian, I didn't care. Like, I'm open. If you're nice to me, hey, we can kick it. We can walk
if you're
together.
good-looking guy and stuff.
You're good-looking, treating me nice. Listen, as long as you if you're good-looking, that's a plus. But that's, for me, that's not all what it is. I've dated some good-looking guys who were just jerks. You know what I mean? Like, I like a good personality. I like somebody that's caring. And a lot of times I didn't know what I was into until it was, like you said, like slap in my face, and was like, wow, I didn't even know I would like the funny dude, or I didn't even know I would like the dude that was my same height or of a different like race or something. I didn't even know that I would like that, because this wasn't, I started late dating and having sex for me. Yeah. Because it wasn't, my father kind of taught me, like, and it was like, wasn't really like a, like, oh, I gotta do this. It was like, oh, it's just sex. Yeah. It's like, whatever. Oh, it's just dating.
But he told you, like, be safe about it, right?
You know what? My father taught us about sex early, like 3 or 4.
That's probably a smart thing.
Very, very much so. And he taught us from like a male's perspective. It wasn't this, oh, men are dogs. It wasn't that. It was, sex feels good. Yeah. It feels good. That's why people have sex, because it feels good.
Well, one thing when my friend in college had that birds and bees talk with me, I was really happy I got from a female's perspective. Yes. I was really happy about that. And she's not a good, I think I need to specify, she's like your average female. I think you saw, my take on it, I don't think she'll be a super feminist, or one of these women that actually kind of talk down by guys. She's like, okay, well, this is what a woman wants. This is how you treat a woman. So it's nice, like, having like an average female's perspective, yes. Like telling a guy, like, okay, if you have sex, when you're gonna have sex the first time, this is how you should handle it.
Yeah. Even my father said, you have sex, it's probably gonna hurt. Yeah. You're gonna hate it. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna break your hymen. He was and he's still like that to this day. I love my dad for that. So for me, it was like, what everyone else was having sex and was wild and crazy, I was like, it wasn't like a big deal. To me, I wanted to wait. I wanted to have a connection with someone. And even now, it's not, it's a priority for me, of course, in my life, but I'm more about like connection and what that means. And I think the sex will come. If it don't, it doesn't. If it does, then it's on.
I want the sex. I say that because my second girlfriend, anyway, the way we broke up, she broke up with me, was messed up. But she was this super Christian girl, and I was surprised. She had boyfriends before, and I think she only got naked to a point where she was just in bra and panties, and she only did hand jobs.
That's it.
And we were talking, and she never masturbated. She never had an orgasm. I don't think she knew what orgasm was, and because she came from a super Christian background. Yeah. And anyway, I thought her parents were wrong how they taught her about sex, and she told me about a situation of when she was 18 or some late teens. Basically, she started dating an older man that was a youth pastor, and she got naked in front. Well, he told her to get naked in front of him, and she started taking off her clothes, but then she got super uncomfortable. She felt violated, and she ran out. And I thought the most fucked up. I told her this is really fucked up. Yeah. Her parents blamed it on her.
See,
I told her, like, listen, no,
no,
like, I talked to women that have been raped. I had do investigations with women that were raped. Right. It's never their fault.
It's not
that situation. Like, you felt comfortable with the guy at first, and like you start feeling uncomfortable. Like, it wasn't your fault.
It wasn't your fault. It's time to go. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, she definitely had like relationship issues, just like I had some relationship issues. But no, I gave her first orgasm.
Oh, like, that's good.
Well, like, it was weird because like we never had sex because she wanted to be a virgin. So she got married. And I respected that. Like, I told her I wasn't going to force that on her. But like the second, third night we were sleeping together because she started sleeping with me. She randomly started we started making out, and she started just taking off her clothes. And she got really comfortable with me fast and got naked. You. And then, what do you call it? I ate her out.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna write an article about this. I wanted to write it last night, but I smoked a little too much weed. And I was working on the prostitute podcast, so I was doing that last night too. But I'm gonna write kind of like a funny article about cunnilingus.
Yes.
Because on my blog I like write like a mixture of serious stuff and like off the wall stuff.
Off the wall, yeah.
So I like keep it balanced.
Yeah.
But no, in the article I'm gonna talk about this. Like it's not like I get turned on. It's like I do get turned on, but it's not the main feeling I get from it. Yeah. I think it's like a power feeling.
Yes.
It's like I could give a woman an orgasm with just my tongue. With
just my tongue, baby.
Like there's a power that comes with that.
Yes, it is. It feels good.
And not a lot of men can do that.
You know what?
That's what I found out from a couple women I've been with. They're like, no, not a lot of men.
No.
They're afraid to do it, or they just don't know how to do it.
I think what I want men, if you're a heterosexual man interested in a woman, I'm always very specific about that. That sometimes penetrative sex doesn't do it. The average, most average women don't come through penetrative sex. It's actually clitoral.
Yeah.
But for me, you can make a woman have an orgasm with, and just doing other things. You know what I'm saying? But we are so big on, I gotta come inside her, I gotta bang her out, you know what I mean, and make her come like that. No, most women don't even come like that. Take a step back. Ask her what she likes. If you're not into eating pussy, then, try other things. You know what I'm saying? Hand jobs, or using your hand, or using your fingers. There's tons of stuff you can do. Tons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think we have enough time to do
No, because like in 15 minutes, we're going to start asking you the questions.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure we get done before your first client.
Okay.
No, what I found out from my experience is it's the foreplay.
Yes.
It's like what's leading up to it, and like the attention to the body.
Yes.
To her body, not so much the penetration.
Yeah.
It's like what's that John Mayer song? Her body's like a wonderland or something like that. I think it's like that. It's like you got to take your time, know what she wants, kind of. You gotta pay attention to like how she's moving her hips and how she's reacting.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole nonverbal thing.
Nonverbal, and you know what? People think foreplay just starts in the bedroom. You can start foreplay early. I always tell people women are like crock pots, men are like microwaves. It takes some women a long time to get on. I mean, if you can fuck her mind, you can fuck her. Mm-hmm. So start foreplay early. Send her a text message. But if you send a text message, be sure that you could back it up too. Don't send a text message and you can't back it up, and then they're like, I got all excited for nothing. I think it's like you said, it's that intensity of it, the wondering, the knowing, watching her body language, watching how she arches her back, or if she's verbally, like oohs and ahs and things like that you can do. But for women need a little bit more prompting. Not all women, but some women need a little bit more prompting. With guys, it's kind of like, ding, I'm ready.
Well, not so much. I had a couple of situations where I just kind of want not all the time, but there's a couple of situations where I just want to get foreplay performed on me.
Yeah.
Or just kind of, honestly, just kind of like cuddle up or something.
You want intimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that sounds kind of gay.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No, it's fine. Intimacy is good. I mean, we're human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, you're expected not to be intimate, like this barbaric, like you just grab a woman, bend over, and that's it.
Also, because I didn't really have a lot of intimacy growing up in my family. Mm-hmm. Come from divorced parents. My relationship with my mother is starting to get better now, but there's times I couldn't talk to her. Yeah. I told her don't talk to me because she did some stupid shit. Mm-hmm. I don't have a relationship with my father because he's a sociopath. That's a person I never want to become. That's what I'm afraid to become.
Yeah.
So that's why I hold myself a little higher standard because of that. But also too, I want to say this out loud because I think a couple men may have been in this situation, but going back to the whole what do you call it? Having that high expectation of men to be sexual.
Yeah.
my great uncle was living with him at the time, and he was doing that machoism thing, especially with Puerto Ricans. Mm-hmm. He said something to me that kind of like took me back, and I'm like, wait. He told me like, because I think he caught me watching porn. I'm like, whatever, I'm watching porn.
Yeah.
He said like, well, I feel like I have to buy you a prostitute because if you don't, because you might rape someone one day.
What the hell is that about?
He said, well, the thing was, I don't talk to him anymore. He's not mentally there. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't have a mental disorder. He's just very egotistical. Mm-hmm. He has very insecure problems with relationships, and he said that to me, and that really affected me. I'm like, man, so I need to start having sex, or even though I want to have sex for love,
right?
It wasn't. It stemmed from a Christian perspective, but then came more of an objective perspective. Yeah, it's like I want that.
Right.
I want that love.
Right.
But like, if any men listen to that, like, I know there's other men that may have been, and that somebody told them something similar.
Yeah.
Line.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I'm looking back at it now, and I'm I went to therapy and stuff, and it's not like that. No. Like, it take both men and women. I want to say, like, just take your time. Mm-hmm. If you feel like you're not ready to have sex, let your boyfriend or girlfriend know.
Yeah.
And just do it when you're ready.
Yeah. And don't think it's something wrong with you because you don't want to, or you want to wait, or you want to have a deeper connection. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's all very subjective. You know, sometimes we may have sex just because we want to, get off. Other times we do it because we want to connect to somebody else, whether that's a one-night stand or whether that's in a relationship. So don't feel any pressure. You got to do what you feel is right and kind of go from there. And if not, seek the help of a sex therapist. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think like it's too bad it's not more sex therapists. Like
it's a small profession, but we're out there. You know what I think the problem is? Advertising. I've had therapists who wanted to become sex therapists, and they were so scared what others would think about them. Mm-hmm. And it was like weird. I'm like, who cares what they think? It's a need. People need more therapists who are clinically trained. And then you know what? I'm just gonna talk about it because there's a doctor that I follow a lot. He's been a sex therapist for over 30 years, Dr. Marty Klein out of New York. Mm-hmm. He talks about, like, is your sex therapist knowledgeable? There are a lot of sex therapists who are not knowledgeable, who have biases, who don't know what their biases are and still will work with the client, who are so...
Or just like a hidden agenda. Like,
a hidden agenda.
I think a good example would be like someone that's like a super religious therapist. And like, I'm going to help sex therapy, but they're trying like, well, God doesn't want you to do this.
Right, convert people. And I mean, you do what you do, but I feel like, our ethical mandate is do no harm. Mm-hmm. And that's the first thing you have to follow. So if you feel like you're doing harm to somebody, or even if somebody goes sit down with someone and they don't feel comfortable, you don't have to stick with that person. Shop around for the person that fits you, whether that's religious views wise, values, morals, gender, race, whatever the case may be. You don't have to stick with that one sex therapist just because they're a sex therapist. It's, psychology today is really good. Also, if you just Google sex therapist in your area, if it's not, we can work across state lines. It's like a blurring thing. We can work internationally as well. So you may do some virtual counseling through a HIPAA compliant platform. Yeah. It's ways to get help.
Yeah. And like, I think porn might be helping and hurting kind of like the sexual culture in America from my perspective.
Yeah.
I watch porn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, but like I think I'm gonna start cutting back because I want to go back to using my imagination.
That's a good point.
But I think it's helping because I think people are a little bit more willing to explore.
Yes.
But also I think it's also simultaneously like keeping people from like actually be sincere about it.
Yeah. Or connecting with...
Or connecting, yeah.
Because, I mean, like in porn, right? You walk in, the postman is there, you're getting banged out on the, I'm using the word bang because that's the name for this podcast.
Bang.
Yeah, you're getting banged out on the desk, and it's like in reality, or the woman, you're coming and you're a guy and a woman is just dropping to your knees, and I mean her knees is sucking your dick. I mean, you know, there may be times where that's not feasible. Mm-hmm. And then you have this expectation like, well, they're doing that in porn. It's helpful to see how you kind of like exploring things that you didn't know that you can do, and also like a teaching tool. But I think a lot of times is we expect that to happen in our real life, and that's not real life. It's edited, it's cut, it's, you know, this man got to last for hours. No, good 7 minutes, you know, you're good. You don't, I mean, he got to last for hours. His dick got to be a certain size. She has to be this wet. She has to scream.
Well, also, too, like, I didn't know since I heard this on his podcast. I love listening to Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
They had Bert Weinstein. Mm-hmm. He's a evolutionary biologist, like professor. Him and his wife were on a podcast, and they were talking about that. It's like, I didn't even know about this, but the lips on the vagina, like
labia,
yeah, some like porn actresses are cutting it off.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, I didn't know. I'm like, that's kind of disgusting.
They do it all. Vaginal rejuvenation to make themselves look more kid-like.
Oh no! Like I'm down for like shape, but like anything else besides that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's entertainment.
Yeah,
it's entertainment, and anything with entertainment is going to come with these unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm. Well, also like that guy made a good point. He said like there's a difference. He felt like porn hurts relationships, but not erotica. It's like erotica is something different.
Yes, it is.
It's something that actually helps.
Yes,
helps the sexual part of the relationship.
Love erotica. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he said, like there's nothing wrong with erotica, but he believes like porn itself there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, yeah. And porn can become very obsessive, and like when people about porn addiction, everybody has a porn addiction. No, it has to be obsessive and compulsive.
Yeah, let's talk about that because like
addiction.
What? Because I heard about it and I thought I had porn addiction. Then I'm like, I don't have to watch it every day. Mm-hmm. I only watch it when just to get off, and it's not like multiple times a day. Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like that's kind of like a very loose term.
Yeah, it's even sex addiction. Yeah. Addiction is thrown out. Porn addiction. Anything that is addictive has to have these components, which is obsessive compulsive behavior.
Okay.
Despite negative consequences to self and others. So, are you missing work? Are you deciding? Are you putting yourself at risk just to get?
You doing it at work?
Are you doing it at work? Are you downloading porn on your company's computer? That's a no. We don't do that. Are you putting yourself at risk? Are you feeling like as if you cannot stop, despite you trying to stop, that you just can't stop? It does the same thing to the brain as if you were doing any other type of like a substance. Yeah. But I would say in a sex therapy community, even when it comes to sex addiction, there's still people who don't believe it should be called sex addiction or it is an addiction, and then others who's like, no, it meets the criteria of such. And that has been going on for quite a while. Okay. But for me, my personal and professional opinion, anything could be an addiction.
Yeah.
From love to shopping to
that's true. Relationships could be an addiction.
Gambling. So just keep in mind that addiction has to have those type of components to it.
Yeah.
But we've seen in here like with Tiger Woods, he was a sex addict. Nah, he just had side chicks. Like that doesn't necessarily mean he was a sex addict.
Well, I was thinking about the other day about because I wrote an article about this about the Me Too. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's good to a certain degree. Like there should be a good support network about women who are raped and sexual harassment.
Yes.
There should be like
very good movement.
That, but like also to the degree I feel like they're going, not all of it, but there's parts of it as becoming more of a kangaroo court against men. Mm. Like, and there's gray areas like, okay, it wasn't sexual harassment, but he just did something immature, and they're classifying it as sexual harassment. Mm-hmm. But
you know what? That's a good point, because I think with anything, with any movement, mm-hmm. there are going to be some individuals who what I call resentment sex, right? So if I get with the guy,
of course,
we have sex, I consented to it throughout the whole thing, but the next day he doesn't call me, and then I get salty about he didn't call me and he used me. Mm-hmm. That's not it. And I think a lot of times when we have individuals who are in that category, it takes away from the true victims and survivors who are struggling, who never get to tell their story, or the men.
Well, in that article I wrote, because one thing I learned as a cop, then when I worked, I don't want to say the company out loud.
Yeah, don't say it.
I worked for this cruise line. I was a security officer, so I had to do corporate investigations. We had a talk with the FBI, and this was also in the police department. We heard the same thing. They won't prosecute against women who do false accusations, like completely false. Like there's evidence like you completely lied.
You completely lied, yeah.
Because the logic behind it's like, oh, it might deter women who actually were sexual harassment and rape. I'm like, no. My viewpoint on that is like, one, you're hurting men when that happens. Because there was an investigation I did, and I wrote this in the article, where this woman, I thought she was raped at first. I went to the hospital. Her best friend was there. And I knew, as soon as I walked in the room, I knew something was off with her. We were talking, and her story didn't make sense. I'm like, okay, let me see your cell phone. And I had the body camera on me. I bought one. And I was recording the whole time, and I looked at the text messages. She invited a guy over. She told me we're going to have sex tonight. And she's saying that he raped her. He had a knife to her throat. Like, he randomly came over, even though he didn't know where she lived. So the sex detective came in, or special victims detective came in. Forensics went to her apartment right away. Looked at the black light. It took evidence.
Wow.
Because we were like, okay, the police take it seriously.
Yes.
And like, okay, if this is evidence right away, if this recently happened, let's hurry up and get the forensics.
Right.
So like, it was pretty fast how we got forensics over there. Didn't find any evidence.
Oh, wow.
The stuff that she was saying, there was nothing to support it.
Yeah.
Then I think they proved that she was lying, but they never charged. And this is the guy. What happened was her husband was overseas in the army, and the most messed up part was the guy the guy didn't know what was going on. He was just having sex with her.
Yeah.
He didn't know what was going on until the police came to him.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
He was a active Marine.
Oh, gosh.
And good thing like nothing didn't become public or it didn't become because that would ruin his like career.
And to his command, you know.
But that's my take on like. I know it's a really delicate balancing act and it's a very delicate situation. But also, you gotta protect men too, because that does happen. Women do. So I want to make sure I'm really specific about this. I'm not talking bad about like the real sexual victims, like the actual victims of rape and assault. I'm not talking about them, but there are women out there that are wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, manipulative and vindictive. Yeah, and I like that you say that. It is a delicate balance, and it's all about, you know, those women who are suffering, even if it's a long time ago, being able to have a voice, use their voice and have a platform and not have someone else take that away from them. Yeah. You know, I mean, as a woman myself, I would never, I mean, it doesn't even resonate with me to feel like I feel some remorse about having sex or giving my body to this guy and then I'm going to say that he raped me. No, I mean, but there are some cases where, you know, a woman says yes in the beginning and then says no, like we talked about early, and you know, and how do you find that fine line? But I think we don't want to take away from the people that are suffering. So I like that you said that. Yeah,
and well, like I said, like one thing I'm concerned about because I'm starting to see this with some of the celebrities that I think some of these celebrities are not good role models or good spokespersons for the Me Too movement. Honestly, I think they're doing it for like ego purposes, but also some of the male celebrities are being attacked for some of them are legit. Obviously, the Bill Cosby and the Harvey Weinstein. That's like they did go rot. They did go rot in jail. Yeah, obviously them. But like, there's one case I'm not sure if you've heard, but Aziz Ansari. He's a comedian. He's been on Parks and Recreation. He's really funny. Yes. I think what happened was the sex was legitimate. And I guess like he wasn't good in bed, and a woman wrote an article about that, and they kind of like put him in that Me Too movement, like
because he wasn't good in bed.
I think he didn't. I think something might have happened where he may have just got turned off, or the sex was bad, and that happens. Like sex, sometimes all the sex is gonna be good, and he kind of like got put into that criteria.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, man, that's fucked up. Because what happens if a guy did that with a woman? Yeah. Like, or this is how the Me Too movement happened. So you guys are saying that you know what's happening, but you're doing it to guys. So you have to. And also, too, there's a fine line between... Because I get put my phone in my mouth all the time, and I say stupid stuff. There's a difference between being immature and say something stupid, or try and flirt and you just say something wrong, versus like complete sexual assault,
like and harassment.
Yeah, and harassment. Yeah. There's a complete difference.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between that.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's important. What is bad sex? What constitutes it?
I don't know. Like let me think. Have I had bad sex? I had sex that wasn't really enjoyable, but I wouldn't say it was bad. But
yeah.
Actually, no, losing my virginity. I was so nervous and I was drunk, or we were drunk.
Yeah.
But I think afterwards, just like the awkwardness, I felt like that was bad.
You felt sex. Like performance wise, or
no, performance wise it was good, but like
yeah.
I think it's bad sex because like
you didn't come.
Nah, and look, and she enjoyed it, but like that, and it was just my knee. Bad. I got a bad knee. It's not feeling something for the person afterwards.
Ah, okay. I'm always interested in seeing what people like define bad sex as, especially dudes. Like, what you guys consider bad sex. It's always interesting to me. Because, I mean, I have my views.
What's your view on it?
I think for me, I don't know. It just depends. You know, I don't like cocky men. Like, cocky men, like, yeah, I'm about to tear this up. Please don't be cocky. Just be in the moment. You know, if I come, I come. If you come, like, great. But I think a bad experience are men who they are very cocky about it during sex, and it makes it less enjoyable. You know, but I'm very vocal about like what I like and what I'm into, and kind of like even before we have sex. So I think that's what makes it bad. But have I ever had? Yeah, I've had bad sex before. Yeah, it's usually with those men that's very cocky. Yeah, I don't like kind of cocky men. No, thank you.
Oh, well, talking about something you said earlier, the first girl I ever fell in love with, because we were talking about like expectations and anything like, she wasn't the most good looking girl I've been with. Yeah. To be honest with you, she wasn't the most good looking girl, and she had a flat ass. I don't
like asses?
Yeah, like a nice, like firm, and not have to be huge, but it has to be like. My thing is like I like the lower half of the body. Like tits doesn't matter so much about me, but like if you have the healthy ratio thing,
yeah.
And if you're in like you. I'm not talking about you have to be super skinny or you have that abs. I don't like the whole ab thing. Yeah. But like obviously you take care of yourself.
Yeah, yeah. You're healthy looking.
Yeah, you're healthy. Like you work out, you eat right.
Yeah.
You know, all about the ratio. I'll date a girl that maybe more curvier, but she's like you look at her like, okay, she works out.
She works out, yeah.
Yeah, she's healthy.
Yeah.
But with her, we were just starting off at fling, and I felt honestly I didn't think nothing was coming up from it. That I fell in love with her, and no, I'm just saying that because like it's true. Like sometimes someone you fall in love with may not someone that might be your ideal person.
Yeah, that fits. You don't know, and being open to what you don't know you want. You never know until you try it. You know, my thing is hard limits and soft limits. Yeah. There are some guys that I wouldn't date. It's just because I know me, and I know it just wouldn't work. But then I'm also open to perhaps it would. I don't know. You know? So.
Yeah, like this guy. Well, it's like there's this book I keep mentioning it lately, and I've been telling other people. Like I read this book from a few years ago. It's called The Tactical Guide to Women. It's a psychologist wrote this, and he wrote one for women too. Yeah. So he had one for men and one for women. Yeah. And basically he talks about like, okay, first you gotta know your patterns of relationships. Yes. So you gotta be really honest with yourself. Yes. Then you have to know about values you have and what values you want. Yep. And you can't. And she said specifically as a man, he said like we're not talking about like he needs to be a blonde or something like no. Right. There's certain values you cannot say no to. So like that's right. Someone who's immature, someone who lies, someone with bad character. there's certain things like, okay, those are no compromise on.
Right.
And there's other stuff like, okay, I want a brunette, but okay, I like her. She's a blonde.
Yeah.
That's stuff you could compromise on. Then he goes into like, he talks about, okay, the first part's about the men specifically. Okay, what you have to do for yourself, what you got to take care about yourself. You need to take care of yourself first and be honest. You got to be completely honest with yourself.
I like that, yeah.
Then he goes into the women part, like how you select women. He's like, first of all, he addresses the red flag situation. If you see this happen, if they, good example of a woman, if you have a problem, if you come home from work, it's like, okay, I'm really stressed out.
Yeah.
And then she makes it about her. And he's like, get rid of her.
Red flag.
Yeah, he said, like, there's certain red flags you automatically have to drop, drop where you're doing, like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
And then he talks about what values you need to look for in women.
Right.
And avoiding those red flags. And also he talks about the divorce stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, for men, marriage is very risky for men. Legally. And economically. It's very risky if it goes wrong. So he said, like, you gotta make sure you take your time. And he also said something interesting, like, don't get serious until a year in.
I like that.
He said, like, don't play house until you're in. Do never give up your man card. It's like, that's what he said, like, that's kind of like what's kind of be taught to men lately. You have to give up your man card. He's like, no, absolutely not, because and actually women find that unattractive. And which honestly, I did a few times.
Yeah.
Because I was taught the wrong stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's certain situations where now looking back, I'm like, okay, I gave up my man card.
Yeah.
I should not done that.
Yeah.
But but then he goes on like, okay, I have a healthy relationship. I'm happy I married my wife. And you could have it too. It's not impossible, but honestly, it is work. And the most important thing about getting in a relationship, and I think he says it with the women too, is this blunt honesty and communication.
Yes.
Like you address like what you guys want, like especially early on in a relationship, like, hey, do you want kids?
Right. Yes.
Hey, when you see yourself getting married, or it's like you don't slowly get into it and like, oh, so you randomly moved in, like,
right?
So like the stuff, like certain stuff, like needs to be planned.
It needs to
be talked out early.
You gotta talk about it, definitely, to see if you're even compatible with each other. You may not even be compatible.
Yeah,
you know,
I
like that.
So now we're going to the question part.
Questions.
The reason, there we go. My knee popped back in. And the reason why I'm going to start telling the audience this, the reason why I ask these questions to every person I interview, it's not filler questions or anything like that. It's because the people I'm going to interview are, I think sometimes some of these people, when I'm going to have a couple of people in the audience, may judge them. And these questions are interpersonal questions, and I want to show people like we share a lot with a stranger.
Yes.
We share a lot. And I do these questions, especially with the episodes that might be more, what do you call it? Judgment. There might be a little more judgment on them.
Yeah.
Or more biases on them. Because I want people to kind of suspend their beliefs for a moment and just like listen to another person's story.
I like that.
So we're going to get into the questions, and we only have like 15 minutes before your next appointment. So I'm going to skip a lot of them and do the most important ones.
Okay.
And we'll start off with a couple of fun ones first.
Okay.
Given the choice of anyone in the world from any time period, who would you want as a dinner guest and why?
Oh gosh, you're making this hard. I would probably say Michelle Obama.
Oh, why?
Why? She, for me, exemplifies everything that I think women in general should have. She's great, she's class, she's insightful, she's educated, but she's also outspoken about things that she loves and she's passionate about. I would love to just sit there with her and just not even like pick her brain, but just have good old girlfriend time.
Yeah.
You know, like talk to the woman from the South Side of Chicago, not First Lady Michelle Obama, but that little girl from the South Side of Chicago, and talk about like what it was like for her growing up and some of her dreams and how she made her dreams come true, even supporting, her husband. So I would love to have her as a dinner guest.
I think, I'm not sure I have my history right. I think she's the first Mrs. What's it called? What's her title?
First Lady.
First Lady. There you go.
Yeah.
First Lady would be like that well educated, that professional too. She was a lawyer.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, so I think she's the first one, and like.
Yeah.
I
love her.
Yeah, despite your politics, just be objective about that. Like, yeah, admire the fact like that woman. What was a professional?
Yeah, she was.
And she knows what she's talking about.
And she grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, are you serious, friend? Yeah, I love her. Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
A perfect date?
Day.
A day. A perfect day would be me not working. Me spending time with friends and family and laughing. I'm talking about rolling on the floor, stomach hurting, laughing, sharing food, sharing stories, sharing ideas, just chilling, or what I call vibing out. That is like the perfect day for me. Yeah, I'm a big family person. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a secret hunch on how you will die?
Probably have an orgasm. I'm hoping.
Best way to go.
Best way to go. Like, as soon as I say I'm coming, like, I come, and then I just, like, drop dead.
That's, like, one of two best ways to go. First one's dying in your sleep. You're not knowing. I think that will be, like, the other one.
Yeah. No, mine is coming. Don't make me. I want to wake up and then come and then die.
Okay. All right. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
I would probably say not being raised so masculine.
Okay.
You know, self-disclosure, my mom in the beginning of my life really, you know, suffered a lot, and she didn't know how to mother me a lot.
Oh.
So it wasn't until maybe I was like 12 that she started to really wanted to mother me. And at that time I was like, I'm 12. I got a job now. Like, you can't really tell me anything. And I've adapted a lot of my father ways, like that masculine. And it's hurt me a lot because I don't think like I say, like the average woman, it just doesn't, my brain just doesn't work that way. I don't know if it's just genetics or like the nature nurture thing, but definitely that would be something I would have more of. A woman's perspective. A lot of my family members died before I was the age of 7. So my great grandmother, my matriarchs, who could have really kind of like guided me and say, hey, you know, this is what you should do in certain situations. I didn't really have that. So that would probably be the one thing I would change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you wake up tomorrow and gain any power or ability, what would it be and why? So any superpower.
To fly.
Yeah,
I need to get the hell up out of here to fly.
It's like you go to Fort Lauderdale faster.
Yeah, exactly.
What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
I think anything that harms someone else. You know what I mean? Like someone jokes about someone else's demise or someone else's
something vindictive,
or someone else's misfortune.
Yeah,
I think that should be off limits. You know what I mean? Because it's just something about that. Like, I get it, but you shouldn't laugh at or make fun of someone else's misfortune or someone else's demise.
Yeah,
or something like that. I think that's off limits.
Yeah, I think also too, we all fall.
Yeah,
at some point. We all stumble and fall.
Definitely, and at different things. You know, what I may consider as falling may be different than somebody else, and I don't think you should laugh at that. Like, kick a person when they're down.
Yeah, actually, I do feel good sometimes when you see someone that's really bad.
Yeah,
like fall and stumble. It's like, you had it coming.
Or, you know, for me, it's like consequences to their actions. That okay.
Yeah,
but even with that, it's like that's so unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like, what could have. Yeah, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it. Like, so, like me, it's like, if you're a really terrible person, like, I'm not gonna feel bad for you.
I don't
like,
feel anything.
No, like, there's good people I'd rather feel bad about
who
fall.
You deserve that shit.
Okay. When was the first time you fell in love, and how did it happen?
First time I fell in love, I was literally, I would say I was 7 years old. It was a young man that I grew up with named BJ. And I knew what it was, but I knew I was too young to kind of feel it.
Oh, okay.
And he gave me my first kiss on the porch. And I wanted that feeling again. You know what I mean? So I think it was like 7 years old, and then I didn't fall in love again until I met my childhood sweetheart at 13, and we stayed together for quite a while until we, parted ways. So yeah, first time.
If you were going to wake up tomorrow with no memories except for one, which one would you keep?
The birth of my children.
Aw.
Yeah. I'm really like a sentimental kind of girl.
Well, that's a very, what do you call it? What's the right word for it? It's a very important memory, though.
Yes. I don't want to forget that.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was freaking horrible.
Well, horrible is something good comes out of it.
Yeah, it was a blessing. They saved me.
The struggle and the pain.
Yeah, the pain was freaking horrible. Gosh.
What's the most embarrassing moment you had in your life? And slash the terrifying moment, too. So, 2-in-1 question.
Okay, so I did this, like this pageant. It was like this pageant, like this, what you call it? Like this runaway fashion show. Mm-hmm. And my mom made me wear this white dress that it had fringes on it. And she did my hair in like these Shirley Temple curls. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming out to Whitney Houston's song, I Will Always Love You. And when I walked out, the whole audience kind of like laughed. And even till maybe I was like 25, I would hear that song and I would cry. Because it made me remember that I was so embarrassed, but I was so angry at her. Like, why the fuck would you put me in this? The dress was ugly. It was horrible. And it had like sequins on it. It was like back in the 90s. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was the most embarrassing thing. And I think it was then that I became afraid of public speaking. I do a lot of public speaking now, which is people don't know that I struggle with it pretty much all my life.
Well, like that's I think top 5 fears though.
Yeah, like, you don't want to be judged. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm good at it, but I think it was something from that one experience. I kind of like internalized it, and I never wanted to be in front of an audience ever again. And look at me now. Huh,
look at you now. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this done in the next 3 minutes. So
okay.
Take out the equipment and get ready for your client. What are your thoughts on the spiritual life or God or anything?
I am a believer of God, higher power. I for one don't what they like do different thing like call it doing church, like just going to church just to go. I go because I want to get a message from it. Mm-hmm. But for me, I have a relationship with God. You know, I'm very spiritual. But for me, even with my family, we are big on like our ancestors and stuff and paying homage to our ancestors and things like that. The people that paved the way before us. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit different in my family. But yeah, definitely spirituality is something that's very important to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, in the last 2 questions, if you know you were going to die in 1 year, would you change anything about the way you were living?
Yes.
What? How?
I would go out more. Sometimes I get in my mode where I just kind of like isolate and I'm all about work, getting everything done. And I've been pushing myself to kind of like get out more. Like I can connect with pretty much anybody. I'm like an introverted extrovert. Mm-hmm. Like, so I can put myself, but I would probably go out more. I would probably meet more people. I would probably be more social. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And this is the last one because there's one like I made up. It's not from psychologist, but what's the worst thing you have ever done and what's the best thing you ever done with your life?
I think the worst thing I've ever done was doubt myself. Mm-hmm. It's held me back or be fearful of doing things. It's held me back secretly. Yeah. I would say secretly because since I was 12 years old, mm-hmm. I can remember. And I took that when I joined the Marine Corps, I took that when I got out of the Marine Corps, relationships. And I mean, it affected everything, the way my path, my journey for school, work, just doubting myself, like, because it's like, okay, coming from where I come from, the inner city, you don't have doctors there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't fit in anywhere. I felt like I was too smart for the hood, but mm-hmm. also too hood for for that thing. So it's like, where do you fit it? Where do you fit in? So, and it held me back from things that I probably would have done now. But I think the best thing I've done is recognizing that is an issue and mm-hmm. I wanted to change, and it's made me successful. And not just business wise, just basically the friendships I have, the people I've met, the connection that I have made, the things that I'm doing within the community. Even working on myself is really important for me to, like, if I'm working with the client, how can I tell you to change something when I'm not even willing to do it myself? Just being the best version of me that I can possibly be. And I'm looking forward to the version of me 10 years from now. So I think the best thing I could have done is like recognizing that, coming into this profession, being vulnerable and open, being able to do the work, what we call like do the work and handle my unfinished business. And just having opportunities like this to talk about it. Like this is like really awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, we're going to end it now so I can hurry up and clean up before you go. What's your website so people can contact you?
Yes. My website, you can go to www.bhowyou.com. That's www.bhowyou.com. Or you can feel free to email me at bhowyou@gmail.com, Bailey House Wellness. So, yeah. Okay, and
I'll put your in the description of the podcast. I'll put your email address and the website.
Yes,
info too. So
definitely.
That way, if you might want to contact you, what do you call it? They can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for this episode. I want to thank Miss Aisha Bailey. I am going to put her information, her contact information, and her website information into the description box of the podcast. So if you want to make contact with her or have any questions of you seeing a therapist, she could possibly help you out. Yeah. So thank you guys again. Go to the website, atabooolife.com. There's some fun articles, fun blog articles in there, some poems because I'm sappy, some really good short stories, and some other good content on there. It's growing by the day, so I'm really happy about that. But go check out sometime. The website again is atabooolife.com. And all right, guys, have a great day, and I'm looking forward to making more episodes like this.
Addressed to a man I knew for 8 months, so we've been friends for nearly 10. And anything other than the merging of our souls feels like my life is filled with strangers. And all the people feel more familiar when you're not a stranger. Off the curve of ink from Pandora dances with the song my heart sings. I'm vibrating.